It's Tigran time. How's it going, everyone? So today we're going to be reviewing the Court Jester by Tigran Hamasyan at the Berklee Music Festival. The musicians behind him, they were amazing. He was really stealing the spotlight though with the piano. So the venue there, they were on the front stage. They had the crowd behind them. You could hear them applaud at the end. It was mainly black for the environment there, matching with the performer's dress, and they had a white curtain that almost seemed like it had a black light shining on it because it had this purple glow to it, but it seemed like the performers all had kind of spotlights on them, and they were all dressed in black. They were dressed rather formally, dressed nicely, and they did not engage with the audience. The performers did not engage with the audience. However, they were very much engaged with the performance. They were very passionate. They were clearly engaged and joyful. You could see them smiling a lot of the time. You could see them dancing. Especially the man on the electric bass. You could see him really getting into the guitar faces and all that. He was really getting into it. I really respected that. Let's see here. Yeah, and Tigran's intensity, you could see at the end. For the last bit, he stood up to kind of add passion, add that little bit of force to the piano, get that extra forte on there. Let's see here. And yeah, there was a strong command of emotion throughout the piece. You could, at the beginning, it kind of shifted from a slower dynamic, although I believe the tempo was pretty consistent, to a more intense dynamic in the middle and through the end. And the method in which he did this, it seems that he, instead of increasing the tempo, he simply added more notes throughout each bar and added that complexity and that intensity, especially with the intensity that he was playing the notes with. It began with more piano, soft notes, and then it moved on to more forte, intense emotion there. And I appreciated how it had that dynamic shift. It had that journey that you kind of went along with the ride with. Some of the performance forces there, you had Tigran on the piano, you had the kanun, which was the Turkish stringed instrument at the beginning. Hard for me to describe, but they had the string quartet with the two violins, the viola and the cello. You had the voices, the singing, the clapping. You had the drum set, you had the guitar, the bass guitar, you had the saxophone, you had the duduk. And throughout the performance, you can see the demeanor of the performers change. From the beginning, they weren't too intense with it, but as it went on, you could see the smiles and the movement kind of instill within the performers. You could see them really liven up and start to get into the performance. If I were to give it a genre, I would say it's kind of progressive jazz. It had a lot of these interesting foreign instruments that I thought added a very unique texture and sound to the piece. There was a lot of syncopation. The piano and the percussion and the voices, they often played in sync. The singers there, they were going, and you could hear the piano playing along with them. And oftentimes with the piano playing, you could also hear the bass guitar playing in sync with the notes that he was playing. And I thought that all of those indicated that there was likely not improv in this piece, as there was so much playing in sync with one another. They must have coordinated or practiced this. You could notice some of the members of the string quartet reading off of sheet music. Tigran was not, as this is his own song. He probably knows it like the back of his hand. So perhaps he improvised at some points, but I did not notice any of that. As for the dynamic, yeah, it was a slow start. It kind of ramped up around 45 seconds when the voices came in. It intensified and picked up with more urgency at about 3 minutes and 10 seconds. And there was an interesting layering of the vocals on top of the piano with the violin. They all kind of mingled together, and they were playing the same notes simultaneously but it created a very interesting texture as they were playing simultaneously. Yeah, the measure seemed consistent to me. It seemed like a pretty constant 4/4, except there was a lot of interesting substructures within the rhythms of the piano. I was trying to focus on the percussion, how everything lined up with it. It's hard to count. It's a very complex piece, clearly. Um, if I were to put money on it, I would say that it changes and that it is not 4/4, but you can kind of follow it a little bit with the 4/4. It does have that repetition with it. Um, Let me see here. And yeah, the density of the notes ultimately makes it a lot more complex and makes it hard to track as there is such complexity throughout the notes. Yeah, no, I really enjoyed the combination of progressive jazz with the exotic instrument. Not exotic isn't the right word, but the foreign instruments here. And I thought it was a very moving piece with the dynamics shifting from slow to fast. The way the performers were engaged also engaged the listener with the performance. I thought it was a very bold combination of different styles, and I thought they culminated in a very cohesive yet dynamic sound that took us through a wave of emotion. And, yeah, that's about all I got. It was a great performance, and I appreciate this and The Curtain by Snarky Puppy. I thought they were rather similar in their experimental nature. So I look forward to seeing what you got next. It's been a great time with you guys. I appreciate y'all. I'll see you next time.